Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hidden Brick, where today we're doing the final part of the build of the LEGO Technic CLAAS Xerion 5000 Trac VC. So we're in the middle of building the crane portion for the tractor. We've had the tractor built. If you missed any of it, check out my other videos. We have them all in the link down below. So we're just moving on with kind of where we left off. This is also parts from bag number 2. So this set was divided into 2 parts, or I guess 2 bags. Bags 1 and bags 2. There's multiple bags of 1 as well as multiple bags of number 2. Alright. This is going to be our selector switch for our gearbox that we have for the crane. Alright, so these go like that. We're going to slide this one in. There. That one in there. Make sure they work. They do. All right. These pieces are structural supports to help make sure everything stays connected real well. I have a couple more. Basically building 2 of them that are identical, 1 for each side. This one goes here. This one goes over here on this side. This is kind of an interesting little piece. This one will pop in right here. Another little build that's 2 pieces that are practically the same, along with some non-friction pins and some of these little pin bushings. So these kind of just slide in here, nothing is holding them on, they're just slid in there. A couple friction pins on the sides. those pieces. It's kind of like the, and I think that's how we're going to connect the thing to the tractor. Alright, move this to the side. We have another multiple. So this piece we're going to build, it says 2x next to it. They show 1 in the instructions, but at the end of the little sub build it has the 2x. It basically means you have to build 2 of the same thing. So, building them both at the same time. That goes there. This one goes here. So on this back side, we have to line these axle holes up while holding this piece in there somehow. Squeeze a 3 long axle all the way through. Alright, that's one. So it kind of helps if you start the axle, but don't push it all the way through, then line them up and then squeeze it through. This gets lined up with these black pieces there. Although they don't stick there yet, they show us something to put through there. So I'm basically making these 2 connector pieces that are identical. Alright, so we push this up and then this will slide in. Just like that. And this one over here will go in as well. So it's our little supports to help support the crane. And you can see it locks down. Alright, next 3 long friction pins that we're going to start them, but we're not going to push them all the way through just yet. Okay, so this piece has, alright, so that hole right there goes over the yellow axle, and then we squeeze the 3 long friction pins in there. Okay, so that kind of completes the gearbox portion of the crane. Move that to the side. Now we're actually going to start creating the crane itself. Pushing. Alright, we have a linear actuator that we're going to extend out ever so slightly. The instructions show kind of a one-to-one diagram of how far they want you to extend it. That's about how far they want it. Doesn't have to be too exact. Couple small non-friction pins. Piece goes there. This one goes 3 holes exposed, and then push the axle in there. The universal joint down there. All right. Three. I don't know why they had us put that there now. It's not staying in. I have some more non-friction pins. Alright, so now we can put this here, and this can come up and attach right there. Go ahead and make next piece. Which, even though I weighed it, it's still not staying on there very well. It's like we should put this on next, and they completely skipped that for some odd reason. Alright, so we'll bring this back over. Our universal joint connects to that yellow axle that's sticking up. We have that kind of flopping down there. We will fold it up, slide a 3-long axle through there. Alright, move this up so slightly. This piece will get some 3-long friction pins. Two of these L-shaped pieces. This, let me see if I can move this up again because this is getting pretty tall. This piece connects on the side, and then this tan non-friction pin goes in there. Goes there. Okay. Starting to kind of look like a crane, maybe, sort of. I have some panel pieces to make. So we're going to create the side panels of the crane. Guess I could zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so this piece will orient like that. Have a friction pin with a bushing. Friction pin with one of these pieces, whatever this is called. Zoom back out. Attaches to that yellow gear, axle. So we take the other side, put a couple more pieces on it. That 5-long axle with 2 bushings on the sides. Now we have another panel, this one right here. A couple more pieces on it. Panel will interlock that. Alright, move that to the side. We have these long pieces. Has this long rack gear. This right angle of a thin lift arm. So it looks like we tilt this whole thing down and we put that there. Five-long axle with a black bevel gear, and then we'll put in black bevel gear inside there. Tilt it back up, and it kind of moves. these small gears. One goes there, the other one goes right here. This will create a little bit of friction to let that thing kind of stay where it's at when you move it. Alright, move that to the side. We have another little sub build. So we're going to make a claw, and then we'll be pretty much close to being done. This large gear that's going to get sandwiched between these thin lift arm pieces. A couple knuckle gears on each side. Make sure they line up. Alright, so we have that. Another knuckle gear over here. This one's going to get the single. And it looks like I pushed it in too far. You want one of these bushings there. Alright, we have this long axle with a stop. We're going to put a bushing in there. And then in here we're going to slide a worm gear. But it's not interlocking with anything. Let's see, did I put this on right? Back up a few steps. I think I may have put that big gear on. Yep, I put it on one hole too short. So if we pop these out, that gear should have been right here. It's actually hard to line up, so I can see why it didn't want to go in that one. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now these should line up a lot better. Oh, gotta get that little bushing out from under there so we can, let's see, back to this step, slide this in there, in there. This one's the tricky one where you have to get that bushing in there before you slide it all the way in. There's really no easy way without just holding it in place. Alright, so now, got all that on there. This worm gear, once it's pushed in there, will actually work a lot better. Have a mini turntable, snap of no return, I'm supposed to put that one on just yet. I need to put this thing on in between it. That all lines up, and then I could put these non-friction pins with a half pin on there. Alright, so when we turn the gray gear here, it opens and closes the claw. So leave it in its closed position, bring this guy back over, and we have this piece. It's hanging down here. Sandwich that in there, close it. Alright, so what it shows us doing is folding these pieces up, pulling these two out, like that, and then we bring over our truck. Let me move some stuff out of the way real quick. Bring over our tractor. I have this universal joint with a red gear on it. It has to connect to that axle piece down there. So I'm going to carefully line it up. There we go. And fold it up and kind of hold it there until it on the page. Come on. Alright, so with this being held up, slide our little piece in here, fold that down. Should be able to do the other side now. slide that in, fold it down. Alright, that looks good. Now we have another couple of axles with stops. Put a gear on it first, and then a bushing. Gear, bushing, and these slide in here on both sides. And while all that was going on, I felt like I accidentally pulled this out, and it looks like I did, yeah. And our counterweight pieces are falling off. Man, this is becoming a sloppy build. But it's coming together good. So, our last little piece is this log. So it's 10 long axle. We're going to slide these 2x2 round fluted bricks on. Cool. We have some extra pieces. This is what I was talking about. These are the typical small pieces that are left over. So what does this log do? This is what the little crane can grab onto and pick up. Alright, so let's check out the functions. Let's pull this up a little bit so we can really see everything. Maybe that was too much. Alright. So I kind of showed you in our last video the tractor portion. Yeah, still gotta move this back somewhere. This is a monster vehicle. Alright, there we go. Alright. So, some of the functions, one of them we didn't talk about yet is the steering. So there's 3 steering functions. So you can see this is the crab steering, where both the front and the rear axle turn in the same direction. So that's pretty cool. And then there's a little switch back here where you can switch between the steering. And this one locks it to just the front steering. And then this one, the front and rear axle turn the opposite ways. So it creates a tighter turning radius. So it allows this vehicle to really navigate the woods or the off-roads or wherever it's going pretty nicely. We have our power switch, so that's what turns on the motor, or the battery box, which is connected to the motor. So everything's turning right now, but until we engage something, nothing's really going to work. So we could push this switch down, and this will rotate the cabin to where it faces backwards so they can see the crane. And then we switch it up and it'll rotate back forward. It's kind of slow, but it kind of needs to be. And then up here we have a hand crank to lower and raise the counterweights on the front of the truck or the tractor. So back here, what we do is our motor's running, which is what we want. We turn these and lock our crane in position. So that's kind of the first thing you want to do is make sure that it's locked. You can see that's, and I'll move this down so we can see it again. So it's these little pieces here. So I moved it up, and then I can push it down and lock that crane in place. Then we have our controls right here. So these controls are what control the crane. So that is, you can see, moving it up. So I push the control down, you can see the crane arm moves down. The boom goes out manually. You see I have to turn this little crank up here. Same with the claw. It opens and closes manually. So I have to open it and then close it. It's also on a mini turntable, so you can see it rotates manually. And then over here is our rotation of the crane. So it has that little switch that rotates it. I wonder if it goes, okay, so it does rotate and lift at the same time. Get it as high as it'll go. That's as high as it'll go. Let's see if it'll go all the way around. Yeah. So it will do a full 360 rotation. And it'll lower. I can hand crank this back. So yeah, that is it. Kind of move that to where you can see the whole crane piece. And then let's go ahead and put our cab facing back that way. All right. Turn that battery box off. So how cool is that? This is a monster vehicle. It's got a bunch of cool techniques and functions in it. It's really fun to play with. It was a super fun build. Like I said, the first half I kind of messed up. I skipped a couple gears and I realized that a little too late, but I was able to dissect the model and get in there and put those gears where they belonged. So as you can see, everything's fixed up. It's working really nice and it looks really great. I can't wait to put this on the display shelf and keep this one put together for a very long time. Really, really cool set. So tell me your thoughts, put a comment down below. Make sure to check out all my other videos. We got a ton of LEGO Technic sets on this channel. So if you love these kind of videos, you're in the right spot. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the future.